Now that we understand queries, we have to do something with them, and the most important part about queries is actually displaying the results. And there's a couple of ways that we can do it. The first one is just simply to display the results. So if I, for example, I've got one here. I've done a little bit more. I've added all the fields in except for the primary keys and the foreign key. So that's primary key of that one. That's the foreign key. That's the primary key. There is no foreign key. There's a primary key. That's a foreign key. I've added all of the fields into my query, every single one of them, except for the primary and foreign keys. I've found in the past that, from my experience, sometimes the primary and foreign keys muck up my query, so I don't tend to use them. Now, if I've added all these in and I don't create any sort of questions that I'm going to ask my query, when I run it, I'm going to get all of the data that I have, and I've only got 4 records in there, but as I said to you, when you create yours, would be a good idea if you had, say, about 20 records that you can put in there, and for this very reason, that you need to be able to run some queries on it. So I'm just going to do a very, very simple one. My query is going to be find a student who has an A in their name, in their first name, and then a B in their second name. So there's Sarah Brown and also myself in this one. And as you can see, when I run it, I get that data, and I can see, all the things, all their favourite band is Foo Fighters, their favourite colour is orange, their favourite food is KFC, their favourite movie is The Notebook, and this is where they live, and there's their Instagram handle and things like that. So not really major information, but if you were to create, say, I'll talk about this later, but if you were creating a project about a business, this could quite possibly be a way in which you would search customers and maybe understand their client. The client is purchasing something from you, but I'll talk to you about that later in the coming videos, because you will have to create a database yourself, and we'll talk about what you need in each of the 3 tables that you create. So now that I've run this query, I've got this data here, right? And the first thing I should do is actually save it. Now, what I tend to do is save them with what they're doing. So F name A, S name, or L name B. And I sort of know now that that's my query's name because it's an A in it, and I'm searching for a B in it as well. So now I've got this query here, and I can close this down, and I've got myself a query. Now, I did say we're going to display this query, and the best way to do that, first of all, is to do it inside Access. And the way that we do it is we do a report, and we can do it on what's known as a report wizard. So when I click on the report wizard button, and I've already got the query highlighted, I can see that this report wizard is actually going to guide me through creating a report, which is a way of displaying the query. So I can do the contact details, I can do all the different tables, but at the moment I just want to do the query. Now, the best way to do this is to add all the fields in there, and I'm going to prioritize this by last name. I'll do that at a later date. So then we go next, and it says, alright, which one's the most important one? I reckon last name is. So all the rest of them, I could do first name at the next part of that if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it on last name. Then I go, and it says, okay, what would you like to do? It automatically does the first field as ascending, so we're happy with that. Yep, that's good. And then what do you want it to look like? I wouldn't want it stepped. maybe landscape, because it's probably going to be very wide, all the fields across here. And then what would you like to call it? Yeah, I'm going to call it that because then I know what it is, and then I finish. Now here comes my report, and I can do a number of things with it. To be honest, I don't really like to work with reports. The reason being is that they're very limited into what they actually display, and I'd much prefer to have them display what I would like them to display, but we'll have a look at them anyway. So here's a very basic way of displaying our data. I can print this, so I can set it up to print. Here's print, and I can also export it. So I can export it to Excel or text file. I can even choose Microsoft Word if I'd like. So if I click Microsoft Word, it will now export that data as an RTF, which stands for Rich Text File, and it's just text. So if I choose OK, it's now sending that. Then I'll save the export. Oh no, I won't, because I couldn't be bothered. And then we close that, and I now have a file that navigates itself. If I navigate to Word, I should be able to open that file somewhere. So that's how you would display this as a report. The next video that I'm going to create is where I actually merge the data with Microsoft Word, and I create a letter. I'm going to stop this video and type the letter, and then I'm going to show you how it works as far as merging the data. So just remember, recap, this is a report, and this is how we would display a query. So if of course if this query was to change, if I did something else to it, if I added something in here or something along here, for example, when we did the height greater than 160, then I would then look at the report and display the results. Now, as I said to you, I don't really like reports because they don't display the data very well. And when we do the next piece of information, you'll understand. The next one that we're going to do is what's known as a mail merge document, and we're going to set that up in Microsoft Word. So I'm going to stop this video and then create the mail merge document.